It's Rachel from All About the House. You can find me on Etsy if you type in All About the House as one word, no spaces. I have a ton of organisation printables, including printable planners, planner stickers, recipe binders, and I've just added some new labels. So these labels include pre-filled with titles for pantry labels. If you want to add some, when you freeze items, what's the contents is and the date it was frozen or the date it is best before. I've got some cleaning labels, and it also comes with some blank labels. So I've got lined and unlined. So you can add your own text because the files come in JPEG and PDF file format. So in this video I'm going to show you how to add your own text to the JPEG file. So if we go to Canva, which is a free online image editing program, just go to Google and type in Canva, or go to www.canva.com, and it will come up with all of these templates. What we want to do is go to use custom dimensions. So the page size of my labels are 8.5 by 11 inches. Oops, we need to change this to inches. You can use them with A4 size paper. I live in Australia and I have no problems printing 8.5 by 11 inch onto A4 size paper. Just make sure you select actual size in your printer menu. I'll include a link to some printing tips below this video. So 8.5 by 11 inches, and then click design. So you'll be able to instantly download the files after your purchase and then just save them to your computer. Then what you want to do in Canva is go to uploads and drag and drop in the JPEG file of the blank labels. So I've already done that here. So if you click to add this design to your canvas, if you haven't got it already, you can click upload your own images or just drag and drop it into Canva. So now that we've got the design, I'm just going to left click and drag to move it up to the corner of the page. You see how we've got these purple dashed lines on the top and the left side? That means it's correctly aligned to the top corner, and it also has the 0,0 just in the top left up there. So we want to expand this out so it fills the whole page. So if you left click and drag on the bottom corner until we've now got the purple lines appearing on all sides. So that means it's correctly aligned. So let's just zoom in so we can see what we're doing a bit better. So these labels are 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches. If you wanted them smaller, you could always not expand out like we just did them and leave them as a smaller size, or you can enter your information in as an 8.5 by 11 inch page size, and then when you go to print them you can scale them, so for example 50% if you want them to be half the size. So this is the size. I include the size on all of my label sheets so you can see what size they are if you can't remember. So all you need to do is go to text. So the great thing about this Canva, this program, is they have a ton of really nice fonts. They also have these sort of pre-formatted fonts, so if you wanted to use a nice cursive font, or you like having lines above your text, so you can play around with them. I'm just going to go click add heading. So I'm going to change the font color, which is this one here, to white, because I'm going to include my text over the top of my label, which is pink. So if I make it white, it'll be easier to see, and it will also match this white border on the frame. So I can keep it at this font. If you would like the labels to match the font that I've used in the other ones, the font is called Trajan Pro, or Trajan Pro, I'm not sure how you pronounce that. It may not be a default font. No, it is not a default font in Canva, so you would need to sign up for Canva's paid system if you want to use that same font. Or you can also edit the file in PicMonkey, or you can use Paint. Canva is just one of the image editing softwares that's free that you can use. You can use it on any application that will allow you to add text. You can even do it in Microsoft Word if you add in the image and then increase it so it fits an 8.5 by 11 inch page size, and then you can just use text boxes, and then you can use any font that is installed on your computer or that you've downloaded. So you can really use any image editing software program. Canva is what I've found to be the easiest to use, but use whichever one works for you. So Trocchi is a good font. I recommend that one. I try not to choose too cursive like that font for my labels. That one's not too bad, but some of them can get really hard to read. when they're cursive, like that one might be a bit hard to read. Playfair is another good font. So you muck around there with all of their fonts. They have some really good ones. Oswald's a nice one. I tend to just choose a nice simple font that's easy to read, because if I've got, for example, I'm putting this for a pantry label, I want to be able to see it from a distance. So if it's sitting on my desk and I'm at my desk, then I might use a cursive font because I'm not having to read the label from a distance, but I tend to just choose a nice simple font. So you can type any text that you want. So say we wanted to, you could use labels for recipe organization. You can add them to the front of notebook covers for labeling, pantry labels, magazine holders, file folders. So many different ways that you can use labels, storage bins, if you're organizing your Christmas decorations, a box. Just tons of options for labels. They're one of my favorite organization tools. So add any text that you want. I'm just going to say brown sugar. Let's say we're going to use these for pantry labels, but you didn't like the font that was that's the pre-formatted font where I've added to these pages. So there's 13 pages of pantry labels. I've got a whole list of all of the labels that are included, but if there is one that I have not included that you would like, then that's why I include these blank templates so you can add your own text. So why is this not adding? There we go. So brown sugar. I can leave this on one line, but I'm going to split it onto two. So when you split it to two, just make sure you leave no space between your two words and then press enter. And then I'll make sure that it is evenly aligned in your text box. So navigate up to the corner where they've got the 4 arrows appearing, and then you can move the text. So my text is too big for my frame. If I press Control A, I can reduce it down to say 32. Let's go a little smaller. 24 is looking pretty good, and let's move it again so it's aligned. That looks pretty good. Might move a little to the left, just a smidge. Alright, that looks nice. So you can choose a different font for each of your labels, or you can use the same font for all your labels. You don't have to have your text white. You can use black if you want. You can use grey, any color that you want. If you want to change the color and you don't want to use white, just click this button here and then press the plus sign. You can pick any color that you want from the color picker. So let's copy this one for our next label. If your version of Canva is not defaulting to center the text, just make sure you click this arrow down button and select center. If you're using a font that's quite thin, isn't bold, so this font's quite bold. If it wasn't, you can click bold to turn that on and make it easier to see. So when I'm adding text, I like to just copy, because then I don't have to reformat the entire text box again. So let's move it up. So you see how there's those purple dash horizontal lines appearing? That means our text is correctly aligned with the text we've already got. So that means it's the same amount of space between the bottom of that letter and the edge of the frame as there is on this one, because we've just aligned them. So that's what those purple dashed or dotted lines, that's what they mean. They're to help you align when you're repositioning your text. So you can leave it at the same text. So if you wanted to put it as thank you labels for the whole sheet, or happy birthday, or you wanted to do favor tags, so if you wanted to stick these to gift bags on your kid's birthday party, you could use the name of each of the kids that have been invited. So a different one on each label. You don't have to use the same text. It's really up to you how you want to customize it. So you can change the font. So if we went for different font, that's another good font. I don't mind that one. You could use these to label, so if you keep different folders for your children's school books, you could label this one as, oh, it's being slow, as 5th grade, and then you could include all of their artwork, their report cards, their short stories, or any other things that they've done in 5th grade, and keep it organized in a folder or put it in a storage box. So there's really heaps of options that you can use for labels. That is how you add your own text. You just keep adding it to each of the labels until you're happy with the sheet, or you can just print it as is and handwrite in the labels. I do think it looks a bit nicer if you add the text before printing, which is why I've included these blank forms for you to add your text and customize it to your liking. So when you're ready to print, just click download, and then Depending on what your printer prefers, some printers tend to print the JPEG file better and some the PDF. I use Canon printers and I've found that the PDF file is easier to print. It's up to you. If you're finding that the JPEG doesn't print nicely, then try the PDF. So you can download it and then print it. One thing to note, if you want to print this onto sticker paper, I recommend glossy full sheet label paper. You don't have to use Avery. Avery is only one brand of label paper. There are a heap of different type of label papers that you can use. They're the same quality as Avery, but they're heaps cheaper. So I'll include a link to where I've got a list of places that you can purchase label paper from below this video. The other thing to note is some printers will print on, so you have to put the paper down so you've got the glossy side face down when you put it in the printer tray, and that is how the paper feeds through the printer, so that when it prints out you've got the glossy side face up, because the page rotates through the printer as it's printing. So maybe just do a test print with your printer in black and white to see which way it should feed through your printer. Most printer menus when you go to print will give you a little diagram of which way you should face the label paper when you feed it into your printer tray. So just do a test print first before you use up a sheet of label paper and full color printing. So I hope you found this video tutorial helpful, and once again you can find these labels in my Etsy shop, which is All About the House, and they're just called Pantry labels. Yeah, so I hope you liked this video tutorial and I hope it was helpful. If you have any questions, just leave a comment below. Thanks for watching.